Welcome to episode 51 of the Awkward Tapes, a podcast where awkward friends have awkward conversations about awkward things.
Thanks.
We do
Yeah.
do that.
I was just really hoping Zach had something to say. I just looked at him. I don't know.
Yeah, so there is a Southeastern Asian turtle.
Oh, dear gosh.
I didn't spill all of it. It's just on the black. At least these are my tables.
Yeah.
But they're his
At least those are my tablecloths.
So anyways, there's a Southeastern Asian turtle that's illegal to kill.
You know you don't have to talk.
Yeah, I don't even know if that's true. I just got really befuddled because I spilled coffee.
Anyway.
It's all right.
All right.
I'm sorry, dude. It wasn't much. It wasn't much, man. I'm sorry.
No, what, Presley? Let's just go into your Presley thoughts. Save Zach. No, Zach, save yourself. Okay,
Tell me
Presley.
It's okay.
Zach, I love you.
I love you.
It's not okay.
It wasn't much. It's already.
It's fine.
It's a good thing it's just a black tablecloth, I guess.
Oh my God.
So, you know how
I put the wrong stuff
Professor X can control things with his mind?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't he control his legs to walk?
That's great.
Wow.
Maybe it's a...
That's fantastic.
Maybe,
Is that a new level of offensive or the greatest innovation of our generation?
Why would it
That
be
rhymed.
offensive?
What? Because I think I know how it would be. I mean, just does he get his power from being
Bald?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Mhm.
Anyways, that's a great thought.
Great question.
Yeah.
Does he... Well, no. He doesn't use, like... his legs not, working to his advantage anyway, right?
I did not understand the phrasing.
His legs don't work.
Yeah.
He doesn't use that in any way to like his advantage, right?
No, it's a disadvantage, I would say.
So yeah. So why does it? That's a plot hole.
Well,
Maybe it's because he seems more like he doesn't seem as dangerous, or he doesn't seem like as capable, or
I don't
something to like catch
really-
other people off guard.
maybe.
I
I don't really know a
know.
whole lot about the character. Maybe I'm sure there is an explanation. I just, at surface value, I thought that was weird.
Can you not control like nerves and stuff? Is that something
That's
that he
what
can't
I'm saying.
control?
We got a little spaghetti going on here.
We get okay.
What?
Little wire spaghetti. It's all good now.
Wire spaghetti.
Or maybe he does that to make himself look vulnerable.
That's what. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of the word. I'm on a podcast. We're all on a podcast. This has been a great start.
Anyways, really?
All right,
Really?
let's get into it. Yeah. Thank you for joining us on episode 51. Yeah, I got discombobulated. And prepare yourself for a session of awkwardness. All right, Leighton. Question. And
Yeah,
then
what's
we'll
up?
all discuss. What would your 15-year-old self think about the life you're living right now?
Wow, that is so deep and insightful, and
Yes.
I really just want to commend you, Shmev, for
Yeah.
putting together this question for me so
Yeah.
delicately. And
Noah is
I don't know what
cringing
to say
in the
to that.
corner.
what would my 15-year-old self think about my 18 or 19-year-old self? That's how old
just
I am.
the life you are living right now, everything you're doing in life right now. What do you think? Like if you if time travel were just real someday,
Yeah,
and I don't know, they went back in time, told your 15-year-old self what you're doing right now.
I think he would be like happy, but college would be like, good luck, pal.
Because you didn't want to go to college back
No, I
Good
didn't
luck.
then, and I don't now, and
I feel that.
I don't like
feel
it.
that.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe maybe next year it would be a better time for me to go back to my 15-year-old self, because hopefully by then I would have a job.
then. So your mindset has
But-
changed.
Not really, I guess. Like I didn't, like I said, I didn't like college. Like I was worried about it then, and then now I'm just kind of like, yeah, I think I can do it. I guess I would tell myself like, you can do it.
What were you worried about?
The workload, it'd be too much, or won't be able to understand something and can't get help, and then fail a class, and then that messes up Tennessee Promise, and then I got to pay all this money, and then I got to do summer classes, and then now I got to go an extra semester, and then
Yeah.
No,
all the stuff.
You're one of the smartest people I know. You'd figure it out.
Thanks.
Come on.
Zach says that to everyone, just so you know.
Well, Now the secret's out. I'm just kidding.
Behind closed doors, he's like, Shmev,
No.
you are the smartest person I've ever met. He goes to Presley. You are the smartest person I've ever met.
It
Anyway.
changes every day.
No, and then he looks in the mirror, and then he's like, "You are the smartest person."
You can
yeah.
do this.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you would be like,
I'd be okay.
You'd be okay.
Yeah, I'd be like,
Nothing you're doing that your 15-year-old self would just be shocked.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Evan, what about you?
I would respond in, "What in the HE double hockey stick are you talking about? That is insane." Because I'd be like, just for when you're on a podcast? Like, because I'm just such, like, I'm still a big introvert. I'm still very shy overall as a person, but I have grown a lot ever since I turned 15. Like, when I first started working, my boss I mean, they love me there now, but they told me when I first started working there that they would have to pull tooth and nail to try to get anything out of me, just because I was like so reserved.
Yeah.
So just anything that was like, just the fact that I would be a senior in college and that I would actually get this far, but especially like just being a part of a podcast or like having multiple friends that I hang out and do this with, I'd be like, nah, that's false.
Yeah, I don't
You're
know
lying to
why I
me.
didn't think of the podcast. I think my 15-year-old self would enjoy that,
Enjoy it.
Yeah. Be like, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
My 15-year-old self would have done the exact opposite. Would have ran for the frickin' hills.
What about college? Did you always think you were going to go to college, or
College just always intimidated me.
Yeah.
Just because it's so different. Because I mean, most all of us grew up homeschooled. So just when you're homeschooled, I mean, I was a good student and everything. Just like I remember
Great
when I took
student.
the ACT and I
Smartest
started
person he's ever met.
smartest person Zach has ever met. But no, but I remember taking the ACT and studying for it. And when you're homeschooled, that's really not fair because
Absolutely awful.
you don't learn stuff the same. You don't learn the exact same material and everything. I mean, you learn stuff, but like I only got like a 21 on my ACT, which I think is about average.
Better than
Only.
me.
Better than me.
I got an
Well,
18.
me.
And he's in school,
Well,
so
but
you never know.
No, but the thing is that my point is I didn't get like a 33 or something
Yeah.
on my ACT, and I was able to go to college. And yeah, I'm not at Hartford, but now I'm at college and I'm a straight A student. So I mean, just it was something to where I wouldn't have expected that.
You know something that's really funny? We knew a bunch of homeschooled friends that all got like high, like 36, 35.
Near
34.
perfect scores.
Yeah,
Wait, isn't-
all homeschoolers.
Wait, isn't
36
36 is perfect?
Yeah,
It is
36 is
perfect.
perfect.
Yeah.
Well, they got like 34
Yeah.
and were so disappointed
No.
in themselves.
They were, that's if you get a 34, you can basically go to the Ivy School of your choosing.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
See, that's the wild range of the spectrum. Nobody was just down the middle.
Yeah.
It's most homeschoolers I've talked to, like it's not the same testing environment that you're growing up in. So obviously you're not going to test the same as everyone who's been in school their whole life in a public setting. But then there were some that just took it to the other extreme and just did so well that they were like 35. They were mad about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Honestly, I
this-
think I would be too, though. You're that close.
When
Yeah,
you're that
but-
close, I mean, that's
That's
what I
fair.
am with. I'd hopefully like to think I'm around a 4.0 because I've finished classes with grades over 100, but I have that 1B, and it's the same. Like, oh, why does the 1B make you upset? It's like because I'm this close.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So you mentioned like college kind of scared you,
Oh yes.
and you've always been more like introverted. So did the social aspect of college, is that what mainly scared you?
terrifying.
Okay.
Absolutely terrifying. Like even just going to the community college that Layden's going to now.
Yeah.
I won't say the name in case it's not out there, I forget. But even just going there, and it's not a big place at all. It's very small. And even that was like a huge shift in environment. And now that I'm at MTSU, it's so much larger.
Yeah.
It's so much
Yeah.
bigger. I'm just like, oh, this place is over like 550 acres, or at least over 500 acres, and it has this many students, and it has this or that. Like, I think only Vanderbilt and UT are larger than it.
Oh yeah. I don't care what anyone says.
I forget if Memphis is bigger, and I don't think Memphis is bigger. University of Memphis, I really don't.
I don't know. MTSU's grown a ton.
Yeah,
That's
It's
why
huge.
it's huge. I think it's the third largest college in the state now, just behind UT and Vandy.
I wouldn't be
think.
surprised. Zach, what were you saying?
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I don't care what anyone says. Like I've heard people say MTSU is small. Like no, it is not small.
It might.
That's a big campus.
I think it used to be, but not anymore.
Probably.
Now, I mean,
Yeah.
if it's not the third largest, it's the fourth largest or whatever. Maybe I'm forgetting something, but
Did you know that there's been quite a few music people to go through there, surprisingly, but one of Drake's producers, I'm forgetting the name of him, actually graduated there, and like people around the area knew him, and he was in school just making millions of dollars, like producing for Drake.
oh yeah. I mean, I forget who it was, but there was like a rap artist or like a rap producer or something, like someone, I forget the name, but it was someone that was high up like that.
Yeah.
And they were just at MTSU one day, and like I think they have a recording studio or something there.
Yeah, they
and
do.
MTSU posted a story on Instagram of like, oh, there was this guy and he just came and he was just like messing around in the sound booth or something. Oh, I think Noah might have been trying to show you some, Zach.
Yeah, Take Heath.
Take
That was
Heath.
what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I've heard everyone say he's a super nice guy too. Anyways, sorry, sidetrack.
Yeah,
Zach,
but anyway,
if you were to answer
yeah.
that question, if you're, let me see what I actually typed down.
15.
What would your 15-year-old self think about the life you are living now?
Oh gosh. I don't know. See, so I'm going back to 15-year-old me. I always wanted to work in music, so the fact that I'm here is kind of a big deal. I don't know. The music's definitely the route I always wanted to take. Being on the podcast obviously is huge. I always knew that I would love like an outlet to share myself and with my friends now, so that's cool. But I don't know. Just thinking back, like I had to work a lot to get to where I am now. And actually, you were part of the reason that I'm here because you made me push myself way harder
He
than I
says that
thought
to
I
everyone.
could. No,
No, jokes aside, no, I actually,
Yeah.
I didn't know about that. I want to hear about what specifically I mean,
I did.
if something's too personal, then don't
Oh
say
no,
it.
no,
but-
you're good. So Leighton,
I made Zach a better person.
yeah, Leighton, wait, hold on. What did you say?
I said I made Zach a better person. I am the reason you are where you are today.
Yeah, yeah, of
It's all
course,
me.
of course. So I hated you in high school.
Well,
this
No,
conversation, it's going places.
No, and I mean that in the best way possible. Like you, what
he
I,
says
I
that-
mean, I hated you in the best way possible.
I did.
I know
did.
what you mean, though. Yeah.
Like anytime and band, and I keep going back to band, but that was probably my biggest like focal point on what I was focused on during my high school years because I knew I wanted to do music. I didn't know what field yet. I just knew that it had to be something in music. So I thought to myself, okay, maybe if I go like to drum or like Drum Corps International, or maybe I'm a session player around town or something. And I was like, okay, I got to be the best. Leighton, you made me earn that spot every week. It would trade off like crazy. One week you would get something better. And then like towards the end of high school, I started letting off a little bit because I was like, just stop. Like we get it. You're good. So I don't know. I don't feel like I would be nearly as work oriented or have the, what would you call it? My work ethic if it weren't for you.
Wow.
It was the friendly competition
Yeah.
of it all.
Right.
And it was just like, and it sounds like it wasn't even meant to be a competition. It was just more so Leighton being naturally talented.
Yeah. And another thing too is that
Maybe.
like being able
I don't think I
to
was
have,
very good, naturally.
well, no, you were. You at least I would say
Nah.
you're a natural learner.
I will say he did put the work in, like
Yeah.
a ridiculous
A
amount. of
ridiculous
times.
amount.
Like he would sit. Here was
yeah, yeah.
from my perspective.
Yeah.
You'd be in your room or the music room, door closed.
Mhm.
You and a metronome, practice pad, drumsticks.
Yeah, I did that a lot.
Hours.
Yeah. Let me go back for a moment to 15 because
What was your life like
all of y'all,
at 15?
like you've said different stuff. Like I don't know why. Like when you said that question, a lot of stuff just didn't really come to my mind. But I just thought of college. But like going to band, I think I would also be surprised. My 15-year-old self would be surprised because at the time, maybe not exactly 15, but for sure 13 and 14, I was almost positive for sure I was going to be a drummer. No doubt. I knew I was going to do something in music.
Right.
100%. So now I'm not really, it's definitely not the plan. It's just kind of for fun.
Yeah.
I think I would be shocked at 13, 14, maybe 15 if I told myself from the future and went, hey, you're not going to be doing music as like a profession or career. You're not going to go to college for
Yeah.
it. You're going to take a completely different turn.
Yeah, you're studying IT now.
Yeah, which is not exactly like music at all. But yeah,
Well,
I think I would be.
Just think of it
shocked.
this way. Instead of doing music, you'll be getting money.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a great. Well, I mean, to be fair, Nashville is the one place to where you can get money. Just there's
Right.
also a lot of false dreams and hope.
Well, so I've heard it explained like this before. I've asked some people in the industry, like especially some of the older guys, like what's the difference between Nashville and like LA and like I don't know, like Ohio. Like there's so many different like
Geography.
Right. So I guess the main thing was that Nashville is a place where dreams are fulfilled and jobs can't be found. Whereas LA, there's plenty of jobs to be found, but no room to like fulfill your dream. So what that means essentially is that you can like really make it here in Nashville, but it's so saturated with people wanting work that it's harder to find as opposed to like say LA or other places. But you can't really like achieve your dream in those other places like you can in Nashville. Yes.
What do you say about Ohio?
Ohio, he said I've never lived there and I'm pretty sure it's just fields. So
Yeah.
I'm specifically referring to, I think it was the head of Sony Publishing Nashville that I asked. He was a really
Okay.
nice guy.
I just like that you asked him about Ohio. That's all.
Yeah.
Presley, how would you answer the question?
This whole time I've been trying to put myself back into the mind of my 15-year-old self.
You're the oldest. So
Oh,
that
yeah,
was a
that
that
was-
was
Presley is the
gap.
oldest.
That was 8 years ago.
That was a long time ago,
Yeah.
which is weird.
Yeah, it was only 4
Like-
for me, but that's 8 for you.
Yeah.
If you need more time, I can go ahead and answer.
No, I've got enough to at least get started on this thought.
Good question, by the way.
This is a fantastic question. At 15, I'm trying to think. So
Still in music.
still in
sax.
music mainly, saxophone, like kind of like Leighton. I think to answer the question directly, I think my 15-year-old self would be surprised with some aspects, disappointed in others, but overall, pretty excited that that's where it's going to end up. So let me break that down. Disappointed because I didn't go into music like I thought I did. I still do it, like Leighton said, for fun.
Yeah.
Which is I'm perfectly fine with. I think that, and I didn't play for a while. Like this past year, I think I picked it up once or twice.
Yeah.
I think I burned out.
Let me say something about that. I don't know if you felt like this, but I for sure did. I stopped having fun, and I just did
Yep.
it because I had to get better.
Mhm.
I could not I just didn't.
It was a
enjoy
chore
it.
at that point.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I felt like if I am not practicing 8 hours a day, I'm not gonna be better than other people. So
Yeah.
no one's gonna want to hire me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I
Well,
got burned out.
That kind of comes down to it. I mean, when you do it for fun, when it's a hobby like this podcast, that's when I enjoy it.
Mhm.
When you can show up, have a conversation, same thing with musically speaking, when you can play with your friends and have a musical conversation in that context, that's a lot more enjoyable for me. I know you certainly have to, put the work in, know what you're doing to be able to have that conversation, but that's no different than us talking. Like you have to be able to speak, to be on a podcast. You have to know how to converse with other people in order to do that. But I just mostly do it for fun. I've kind of just been taking a break, like I was saying, just because of burnout. And really, I've filled my life up to the point where it doesn't make a lot of sense to go back to it.
Mm-hmm.
So, but back to the question, that would probably be a little disappointing to see. I still now would like to play more than I do. I just haven't found out how to fit that in yet because I'm working, I'm podcasting, and somewhere in there is a little bit of sleep and social life.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I would say this is probably the most socializing I do outside of work. Probably. But outside of music, I'd say pretty well. I found a job I like that I didn't initially think would get me to where I am. I started off with a couple jobs out of college just to take them. I initially thought I was going to do music. I think I had that discovery that Leighton had much later. Like I actually did go to college for music, but for 2 years. Thankfully, in Tennessee Promise, I didn't cost me a whole lot. Thankfully.
Can you talk about when you were going to go to college after your community college and you
Yeah.
ended up not?
That
So
was a fun summer.
I think some of the listeners could take some stuff out of that.
I mean, are we thinking about the same thing?
Well, I'm just saying you were gonna go to the college I was going to at the time.
Yep.
With
With some other friends.
with some other friends, and then you just made
changed
a
my mind.
decision not to. So yeah, just talk about that. What went through your head?
Well, ultimately, so I went for 2 years. I wanted to teach in music education. But I had to have a 4-year degree in order to do that at a high school level. And if I wanted to go back for master's, I could do it at a college level. But I at least knew I wanted to go that far. So with that degree, I would be teaching daily in a public or private school setting. Giant, kind of like what we grew up with in a band setting, jazz band or what have you. So that I came to the realization I didn't want to do music after I got the degree. Thankfully, I didn't have this crisis in the middle of it. But yeah, that transitional summer between those first 2 years, I got the Associates of Fine Arts. I still had 2 more years to go before I could get the bachelor's in music ed. And then like a month before I was supposed to go with Schmeb's
Maybe
College.
less than that.
Yeah, probably like down to 2 or 3 weeks before I was supposed to make a decision, before I had to put the funds towards it. I had this realization. I was like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
I don't know why it took me this long to realize it, but I just don't want to do it. And we've talked before about what was I, 18, 19, 20, like
You were 20.
20 at the time. Well, even that young, it's like, how are you supposed to know what you want to do?
Yeah.
That's a ridiculous question.
Do you think that was one of the first times? Because I had like this thing that happened to me at a certain age where I'm like, this is a decision I can make on my own. I don't have to listen to, parents decisions or
friends,
or
family.
friends or whatever. This is my own. Was that one of the first times you were like, this is my thing?
Yeah, well, music had always kind of been my thing that I had stuck with. Altogether, I think I've been playing this year for 12 years total.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it for a long time.
Yeah.
It was my thing, but then I decided it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I didn't want to go to college, kind of like y'all.
Yeah.
I really didn't want to go. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't, especially for the gen ed stuff, but that's a whole other topic. I didn't want to go. I just wanted to get in and get out, meet people, make connections, but whatever. I really just wanted to start working.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, I've already been in music. I already know a decent amount of people. I know what I want to do. I'd rather just do it. But they're probably not going to let you teach if you don't at least have a music ed degree.
Sorry, just got a reminder.
Oh, no problem.
He's got to water his dog.
Just after that whole thing about Presley's like story and where he's come from, then just like, oh crap, I gotta water my dog.
Pour water right on my dog.
Remind me to water my dog. Anyway, to get to the point of it. So, I enjoyed it, but then I started thinking of what a daily life would be like in that setting, and I was like, I probably enjoy this more in like a private session.
Yeah.
Giving private lessons level. I really don't see myself enjoying being in front of a class like that. And I was like, well, if I'm not going to do this, I don't want to just spend a bunch of money on a degree. So I just started working. It worked out.
Could you guys imagine Presley in a classroom full of like 25 9-year-olds?
Yes.
There's no
See, that's the realization I had.
oh
Yeah. I was like, well, I don't. At the time, I think if I knew about it, what I knew now, I think I would have enjoyed audio engineering.
Oh, yeah.
But at the time, I didn't think I would. I'd done some studio stuff in high school. Just like I took some external classes at some places maybe you've heard of, maybe not. I didn't think I enjoyed it that much. I certainly didn't at the time. I didn't really like music business. I didn't know anything about a business. I was like, education. Okay, I give private lessons now. I'm going to go for that.
Yeah.
But I thought about that as a career and a job and the money of amount of debt I'd be going into versus the amount of money I'm making. And I was just like, I'm not going to do it. I'll just keep it as a fun thing.
Yeah.
Then maybe I won't be as burned out. Do you have a question?
Well, I was going to say, like, for those of you who don't already know, me and Presley are brothers.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Same parents
for
and everything.
Yeah, they're not half brothers.
Yeah,
no, they're
There
full.
wasn't one that was adopted. They are
Yeah,
full brothers.
right. So it was like watching you was kind of like helps me decide what I wanted to do.
Mhm.
I think that's why I realized it earlier than you. Was
Well-
because I could see.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Because it just kind of helped me like see like, okay, well, I can like follow that and like where's that going to end up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you kind of had the same like plan. Like, well, I had the same plan as you basically. I was going to go to a community college, probably the same one, and
Yeah.
get a music degree in the same thing. And yeah, well, I think once you kind of realized it, then I had pretty much kind of realized it too.
Well, you know what's
I don't
weird
wanna
now
teach high
is
schoolers.
I'm doing IT stuff in my current profession, and
Yeah.
you're in school for IT.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is funny.
It's not on
crazy how it's worked
purpose.
out.
It just
I'm
it
literally
kinda worked
doing
out
what
that way.
Presley does, but or want to.
yeah.
It's kind of odd.
Well, you realized you wanted to do IT stuff, I think, before I did.
Yeah, that is true. But like the only reason I did music in the beginning was because of you.
Yeah.
It's
Dude,
kind of crazy.
you
how this
almost ended
worked.
up being a trombone player. Could you imagine?
I know. That was weird.
You would have never been friends with Zachary, or not as close.
Well,
Yeah.
Oh, and then Zach would have never hated you
Yeah.
and find you to be
Yeah.
smart.
I would have been the best.
Zach's ego just inflates.
Oh, dude. My ego was so bad in high school. And
Alina.
if you weren't in the picture, it would have been so much worse.
Yeah.
And then I
was-
was going to say this, though.
That was pretty bad.
Nah.
Internally.
Oh.
I don't know how much of it showed, but looking back at it now, I was like,
Well,
yeah, my
well,
mindset did lend itself
Girls
to
just
that.
kind of like fell all over you.
We won't talk about that.
Oh, they fainted? Did you have to take him to the hospital?
Yeah, they fainted. Just
Just
full
like-
on.
Okay.
and-
Okay. Last thought about this. I was just going to say, you were so good at like technical, like polyrhythmic jazz drums that I think you would have done really well as a session player had you kept going.
Could you break down what polyrhythmic?
Well, Shmev already knows, but for everyone else.
Yeah, just for
right,
the rest
right.
of us.
And I want you to explain just so I can make sure you know what you're talking
Although,
about.
Zach, explain it like we're 5.
Yes.
Multiple beat do different thing.
Yep.
Thank you.
At the same
honestly, that's
time.
the,
Yeah.
Same time.
that's the best
So like
description you could give.
if I'm like clapping like this, or Leighton, you want to finish it?
Yeah. So
That's a polyrhythm.
Okay.
Essentially, two rhythms going at the same
Yeah.
time,
It's multiple rhythms
But-
going at the same time.
played by one person,
Yes.
which is extremely difficult to do.
Yeah.
Poly
like-
means 2.
you can do like 2 over 3, where it's like
More than one, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Don't hurt yourself. Slapping his chest. Like Tarzan
I
over
used
here.
to do that in van all the
Showing
time.
off
Off
your chest
Get on
here.
your chest.
Anyways, no, that's
All right.
really interesting to
It is,
be
but
nostalgic. And
Shmev,
think
we
back.
never heard
Yeah.
from you about. I want to hear from
Do
you about
tell.
this. Plus, you've just been quiet this episode, mainly
I have?
because you've been asking us.
Yeah, I've been trying to like conduct interviews. So
Doing great, sweetheart.
since it was my
a
week
job?
to come up with episodes, I had a little bit of more time to think about this. And so thinking back on it, when I was 15, I had just decided that sports were like a hobby now, and I didn't want to really play them anymore. And so that was like a big like, whoa, like
Right.
what do I do now? Because that was my childhood, was sports. I played sports. That was the only hobby I had.
Your identity.
That was my identity. And so I really started thinking, okay, what is my future going to look like? And about a year later, and I sent y'all this the other day in the group chat, we were doing something in church, and our youth minister wanted us to write down 5-year goals of like what we wanted to do in 5 years. He wanted us to write down 3 goals. I could only come up with one, and that was to go to the University of Tennessee.
Ah.
And a couple weeks ago, I graduated from the University of Tennessee.
Yeah. I was gonna mention that.
Yeah.
I'm happy for you, buddy.
And so, if I told my 15-year-old self now that I graduated from UT, I worked in their sports department, I got to go to all these football games, like that, my 15-year-old self would have been,
He would have crapped his pants.
he would have crapped his pants. Because my 2 biggest passions were sports and the University of Tennessee. And not only did I get to go to the University of Tennessee, I got to work in their sports department, meet some cool people, go to all these games. And so, like, my 15-year-old self, I think, would be pretty happy.
So, not according to necessarily today's Shmev standards, but for 15-year-old Shmev, you literally accomplished your goal.
Yeah.
Because, or like just your goals in general, because that was the only one you could think of.
Yeah. And I didn't go there like a natural way. I went to a different college my first 2 years because my ACT score didn't line up.
Yeah, well, but was
But-
that I forget, is that community college?
No.
No, it's not.
University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. It's a
Okay.
university.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're right. That is a university.
Which was great.
Eh,
I
Chat,
loved
though.
I loved UT Chat, but when I decided I wanted to change to sports management to do a passion of mine, Chattanooga did not have that major, and so I had to look elsewhere. Started looking at UT, like one of my first things, and they had sports management. I'd learned from our buddy Cooper, red hair, who has been on this podcast before.
Oh yeah.
He
Oh,
was
yeah.
loving it just his first year, and so he told me all about it, and I started doing research. I applied, and I was able to go. But
Right.
yeah, to summarize, like, yeah, if I'm looking back, 15-year-old self, what I thought about doing in the future, I pretty much have succeeded at. Now I need to find a job in sports that I really love, and then it'll be like really, really good. But
Oh, yeah. No, that makes sense. And I think you could even say that, like, you basically just went to UT, because even though you spent a couple
Yeah.
years at Chat,
Yeah.
fight me on this. The first, changed my mind. The first 2 years, it does not matter where you go
No,
to college. It could
not
be
at all.
a community college. It could be some fancy place, whatever. The first 2 years do not matter, because you don't learn anything the first 2
Yeah.
years. At least not that much. You might learn
And-
something, but it's all just the general stuff. It's all like, oh, you got to take algebra. You got to take your English composition once. You need a history in
As
there.
long
Yeah.
as the
And you're
credits
like,
transfer.
I'm in IT. It's like, no. Okay, you need to learn about this poet from the 18th century. Okay, if
What
you don't
is-
get this, if you don't get this poem from the 18th century and write like a 2-page paper on a poem, because the poem you can definitely get 2 pages
matters.
out of it. If you don't get this right, you are not going to succeed.
And you
It's
have-
so stupid.
Have to learn the Pythagorean theorem.
You have to.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
No,
I've
it
used
just-
it so many times.
I've used it so many times in like 10 podcasts. But anyway, but just that whole thing, that just gets, I mean, that's off topic, but that just upsets
Yeah,
me. But my
well-
point in that is that you basically went to just UT.
yeah, and I was gonna say, growing up, like even just before 15, some of my biggest idols and the people I looked up to played sports for Tennessee. Yeah, people
Peyton Manning.
like Peyton Manning, Chris Lofton was a really good basketball player back in the day, and some more people. And so, and not only that, Rocky Top, which is Tennessee's fight song,
Oh yeah.
it sounds so weird. It was just it's more than a song to me. Like it's just got so much more of a meaning than just like some song.
I don't like that.
And
song.
so when
I
I was
love it.
and so when I was
good.
when I graduated, we threw our hats and they started playing Rocky Top, like while we throw our hats and stuff. I sat there like teary eyed, because like everything leading up to that was just like that's always what I wanted to do, and it was like
Like
you-
a movie scene.
like you did it, and so now I get to wear this ring everywhere,
Heck
like
yeah.
saying I did it, what I majored in, and it's just yeah,
I thought you
milestone
bling.
were about to flick us off.
with my ring finger.
Yeah.
Something I wanted, and that's beautiful, by the way.
I cried.
Yeah.
Listening to
I-
that.
Dang. Anyways, I was gonna add that you talking about sports made me realize that I had forgotten about that aspect of being 15. I was really into sports as well. Maybe not as much as you, I would probably say. Like I never really watched much sports. I did when I could, but
Well, I mean, you still talked about how you wanted to play sports in college at the very least. I remember you talking about that.
So that was something I wanted to mention. So growing up, baseball was always like, oh, if I can, I want to go to the major leagues. And I told myself, I was like, I realize that's not realistic, but if I can, I will. And so I always tried to work really hard, put in like 10% more effort than the other guys. And leading all the way up to senior year, I was like, no matter what, wherever I go to college, I just want to play baseball there, whether that's MTSU, whether that's Columbia State, whether that's this or that, or UTK was an option at one point. I was like, I got to do this. And then I actually emailed a scout at UTK. I got their email and I sent them videos of me pitching, because that was this was my junior year, right around the time that I was throwing up to 86. And that was like the fastest I had ever gotten up to. But for junior year, that wasn't terrible. I sent in a video and he was like, yeah, we'd be interested in seeing more maybe at some point. And I was like, it was pretty open-ended, I will say, but I was like, okay, cool. That's great. And then senior year, threw out my arm. I was like, oh, that sucks. Never heard back.
Yeah.
And that was right when COVID came around. And realizing that, like now that I really don't do anything with baseball anymore, looking back at my 15-year-old self, I don't know. It'd be sad in a sense, but because I never really got closure in it, which really sucked. But overall, I think I learned so many life experiences from that, like invaluable. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be shocking.
All right, I think that's that was a
think
great
we need to hug
discussion.
each
guys.
other
It
after
was.
all that.
Yeah, this was episode 51. Hope you guys enjoyed this deeper discussion. I like these
As
deeper
you can
discussions.
tell, life turned out pretty dang good.
Leighton, just is there anything you want to say to Zach specifically about his intelligence?
I hated you in high school.
Well, Leighton says that to everybody though.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
I hate it
Don't-
personally.
Don't take it personally.
I like how you didn't even know me in high school, but it's like I hated you in high school.
Here, suck a duck.
Nice. All right.
Nice catch.
Join us for episode 52, and thank you for joining us for a session of awkwardness.